Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the Akim who continue these videos. So I just want to come in with a quick lesson, speaking about this thing that's going to come in next week, that the world calls Christmas. But a lot of these people, they really don't know why they're celebrating it. They're pretty much just doing what they're told and what they were brought up to do. But when you come into this ministry, you're supposed to understand that we put off all these things away. You become a new man. You start to rehearse the righteous acts. And so Christmas, and pretty much all of these wicked holidays that this society celebrates, they're vain, and they have no scriptural integrity to them. Like how people like to think that Christmas was the day that the Messiah was born or whatever. You can go into the history. He was actually born in the springtime. Sorry, let me just put this on disturb. So I just want to put a just a quick video because I've done this topic before. Because it's when these people they get this holiday known as the winter solstice. Like in the ancient times, they like to just rehearse it, refresh it, add some things to it, move some things around. Like if you go into like the Yule, you'll see why people put up the mistletoe, and it has nothing to do with the scriptures. So when I was doing a little bit of research, on this topic again, because like I said, I'm not really gonna put up a whole bunch of information because it all really just dates back to the heathens worshiping these holidays, and they're astonished and confounded by the signs of the sky, because that's what the winter solstice is, basically the darkest day of the year. So what I was doing was I was seeing that it was also celebrated in ancient Egypt. Because I'm not going to read the whole article. It goes into like few things here and there. I just thought it was interesting because I didn't know that they celebrated it in ancient Egypt as well. So I'm reading right here. It says the winter solstice in ancient Egypt. In ancient Egypt, the winter solstice coincided with the waters of the Nile receding from the banks of the river. As the water gradually retreated, a harvest would arise in the damp soil left behind, creating the perfect conditions for a winter festival. There are several different gods connected to the winter solstice. One legend that is oddly familiar is that the beloved god Osiris. The story goes that he was murdered by his jealous brother Set, who cut off his body. And if brothers understand what the madness that comes from all these these fake gods or whatever, it's insane. And really, when you're celebrating these vain holidays like Ishtar, Easter, because that goes back to Nimrod and the worship of Tammuz. And I forget kind of the lore of it, but he was the king of Babylon, and the builder of the Tower of Babel, and so with that, I think it was Tammuz was killed by a pig, or I think it was Nimrod, Semiramis or something. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to bring up all this information, but that's one of the the festivities that people do is that because someone died from a pig, that they eat a pig and they have rabbits and eggs, so it all just circles back together, and it all has nothing to do with the Hebrew Israelites of the scriptures, because the Heavenly Father did not tell us to worship these gods and celebrate their holidays. But back to this, it says his wife Isis searched for Osiris' remains and returned him to life on December 25th. His death and resurrection came to symbolize the rising and setting of the sun. And ancient Egyptians celebrate the solstice by decorating their homes with green leaves of date palms, and leaves were green year-round, which signified immortality. They were used as a symbol of the triumph of life and death. So I'm not going to read the rest of it, but that's one of the reasons why they cut the tree. I think it's like a sycamore tree. It's like I'm not getting the right nomenclature. But one of the reasons why these heathens they chop the tree down is because that's the only tree that keeps its green. I think it's called the evergreen tree. If I'm not mistaken. So these heathen they equate the sun coming back, the winter being over with that thing. This is the only thing out there that's green. So with their logic, they chop it down not knowing that's actually part of the ecosystem that's happening. And then they deck it in their house. And they just do a whole bunch of vain things, and they're pretty much worshiping false idols when they do that. So this is Jeremiah 10, speaking about that account, because Jeremiah was, speaking to the nation of Israel. And the nation of Israel, they didn't want to hear all of this because, coming to the Lord, you have to go on the straight and narrow. They were pretty much told to stop worshiping these vain gods, stop trimming your ways to appease the heathen and get back right with the Lord. But so I'm going to go ahead and read this. This is in Jeremiah 10, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, "Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the custom of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, though the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be borne, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good." Because people like to think that like a house isn't complete without a Christmas tree, in this day and age. Because I come from an Ishakite background, so-called Mexican, and I was paying a visit to some of my family members, and all of them had that same vibration. They all just wanted to talk about, well, their tree in their house, and I just shook my head and just changed the subject or whatever, but it was like every family member is pretty much about this. They don't want to hear what the scriptures got to say about this vain holiday. They see this thing like it says here. It says right here in verse 5, it says, "But speak not, they must needs be born, because they cannot they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good." So that dead tree, or plastic tree or whatever, they got all these decorations, it's just collecting dust, or rotten in the house. It's not going to bring anything bad or anything good. But people, they think that that's the thing that's bringing them the Christmas spirit, the Christmas cheer or whatever. It just goes to show you that, this society, everyone's just, giving into the marriages, just still continuously partying, just like in the days of Noah. Nobody wants to tell them that what they're doing is wrong. So this is Romans 13, verse 11. It says, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believe." So when you come to this ministry, you're going to understand that not everyone is going to wake up to this truth. A lot of people got to see it to believe it. So they're gonna stick to their old ways, pretty much until the society is ultimately destroyed. So then they're not gonna awake. But you have to understand that the Heavenly Father is gonna wake the remnants out of this sleep. And so verse 12 says, "The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light." That goes into studying this word, even the history of what's happened, like from after 70 AD up until now, so we could put all the pieces together. Because one little thing that I just remembered is Christmas was such a rambunctious holiday in the beginning of America. I think it was the 18th century, that the Puritans, like there are these so-called Christians, they banned that holiday because it was just a whole bunch of debauchery. But you can see people, they're just going to continue sleeping in their ways, and they refuse to wake up. But verse 12 says, "The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light." Like, working in this ministry, and picking up the customs, pretty much, rising out of Babylon mentally and spiritually, and waiting for the Heavenly Father to send His Son Yahushai so that He could do it physically. And verse 13 says, "Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness." Like if you look at the history, like I just said, of Christmas, that was a holiday that was banned here in America because of that. Because it was literally just rioting and drunkenness. If you don't believe me, Google it, search it up. It says, "Not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envy." So, I just got a few more precepts. This is Jeremiah 2 verse 33. It says, "Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways." Just mainly going into like how people, they pretty much, they might hear this word, but then they're not gonna actually correct themselves. They're gonna trim their ways, because when we're telling the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, to stop celebrating these holidays, they're gonna shake their head, wave their hand, and then go back into their ways. They're gonna go back to sleep. All right, so this is John 8:32. It says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make." So like, I'll read from the top again. It says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." So when you hear this and you actually adhere to this, count that as a blessing, and understand that not everyone's going to get this. We're going to see people celebrate Christmas, when the MOTB is rolled out. You best believe that's going to be one of the selling points. You got to eat, take this MOTB. You got to get a present for your family. Take this MOTB. We know, through those through the prophecies, that not everyone's going to get this. So they're going to continue in this way, just as in the days of Noah and in the days of Lot. All right, so this is Proverbs 11 verse 21. It says, "Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered." So we have a division here. If you got the 2/3 nation of Israel, we tell them, we actually have better holidays. We call them high holy days. And they actually have a spiritual and like a heavier meaning, to who you are as a people. But they're just gonna hold hand in hand with the wicked. Whatever Esau gives them, they're gonna run with it. But then the people who adhere to that, the people who took that calling to make their election sure, they're going to be the seed of righteousness that's going to be delivered. All right, so last precept I had here is it's in Revelation 18, and I'll start at the top. It says, "And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitations of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean, hateful bird." So when we're in this ministry, we're enduring into the end. We don't want to be a part of that. We don't want to be we don't want to be in Babylon when it's fallen, and it's a habitation of devils and every foul spirit. So verse 3 says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." So you get a plane ticket and go anywhere around the world, you're going to see people celebrating this thing that has nothing to do with the scriptures. Wearing the green and red sweater, wearing the Christmas hats or whatever. You got adults dressing up like elves still. It just goes to show you this place needs destruction. All right, so it says, "For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues." So we're waiting for that to happen physically. But right now we're rehearsing the righteous acts. We're getting ready for that calling. We're getting ready so that we're not found, pretty much in a bad state. Like how the old saying goes, you don't want to be caught with your pants down. So that's why we make our calling and election sure. We don't give presents here. We don't do Secret Santa or whatever, for all these holidays. Because, when you come into this ministry, you have to get heavy into the history, and you learn about Nimrod and all the wicked things that came out of that, all these wicked nations. So that's the end of this video. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Kodash, and Shalom Akim.